We exchanged meaning for comfort. Society nowadays has become so driven solely by outcomes, and the only outcome that matters is how much money you make, how much money you can provide for a company or a corporation. You know, comfort used to be the reward for a meaningful life. It would follow when you finally achieved meaningfulness in your life. But now, comfort is the goal, and if you're lucky, meaning comes with it. If you're lucky. And it's exhausting, and we can all feel it, and I feel like that's probably why you clicked on this video and you're still watching, is because it just doesn't, our world no longer feels like it's being optimized for human happiness and for purpose. It now just feels like everything is just a means to an end. You're valued for what you are, not who you are. You know, how much money can you bring a company? Not, hey, are you a fun person to be around? Do you actually care about other people? That stuff is secondary. You know, we're taught to optimize for safety, for stability, for approval. Never for purpose and truth. Nope, that doesn't matter. And the result is that our entire generation is empty. You can feel it, you know, and it only seems to be getting worse as things are improving with technology and AI and stuff. It just seems like we're stepping farther and farther away from what it means to be human. We traded uncertainty for predictability, and then we called it success. But the problem is, nothing alive grows in a predictable box. That's not how it works. If everything's predictable, then we can't form into the version of ourselves that we're supposed to be. There's no mystery, there's no discovery. The modern dream is no longer fulfillment. It's not finding your purpose. It's insulation. And so it seems like everyone is just trying to master the art of thugging it out. Oh, how can I just get enough money to get by? You know? It's exhausting. It's draining. No one wants to continue this sort of fake reality. It just seems like you have to be a fake person. You can't be authentic. Because when you're authentic, people look at you crazy. Like, bro, we're just here to get money. We don't want to listen to your life story. We don't ask what matters anymore. It's never about that. We ask, you know, what pays well, what's respectable, what gives us status. What's not going to upset anyone. That's a big one, you know. Oh, let's just make sure, you know, no one's upset. Let's all just stay in our comfort realms. And then nothing great ever gets achieved from that. And that's the reality, is that all greatness is found outside of the comfort zone. I recently made a video where I talked about how life is a video game, and these are the rules. And one of the rules that I talked about is how when you're in the comfort zone, everything's low XP. You got to go out of the comfort zone, you got to go into the danger zone, into high-risk situations to gain real XP. And how true it is. We scroll to escape this sort of question that discomfort is trying to ask us. You know, why are you here? Who are you becoming? That's what we consume all the short form content for. The TV shows, the movies that we watch. It's all an escape. You know? And it makes us feel good. Not great. It just makes us feel good enough to where we're like, yeah, we can keep doing this. We can fall into the trap. The tragedy is not that life is hard. The tragedy is that we made it small. Right? We're so limiting to ourselves. It's like mass psychology. The masses, we just don't flow. We don't allow ourselves to grow. It just seems like we're so insulated. When you think about it, meaning requires risk. Comfort builds compliance to its core. One builds a soul and the other is building a cage. And the problem is we're prioritizing the cage above the soul. And the amount of people that benefit from this is so few. It's like a few hundred, maybe 1,000. And then the rest of millions, billions of us are left with no purpose, no place. You know? Once, I know I'm getting monotonous, but it just becomes exhausting. Everything becomes a performance. And it's like, hey, how can I do what I need to do today so I can just go back to my house, so I can be in my room and then watch a TV show? Man, I just want to make enough money to buy some food that I like, and, you know, maybe if I'm lucky, I can raise a family on the side or do this or do that. And even that nowadays is becoming very hard to support, you know? When you think about it, most people are in the future, meaning they're not living in the present, like they're looking to the future. And so everything they do is all about, oh, like maybe at some point down the line I will be able to, you know, achieve something that I want. But for now, let me just stay comfortable, because they're thinking about the future. They're not thinking about now. They don't understand that now is the only time you have, so you have to take full advantage of the moment. But they're like, oh, you know, in the future, like they have this sort of hypothesis of how things are going to turn out. But that's just based off wishful thinking, which is such a large problem in our world today. You know, Elon Musk, whether you love or hate the guy, he has a really good speech that he gave once at in some public event, where he said one of the biggest problems in our world today is wishful thinking, because it gives you entitlement. You know, it's interesting. Comfort promises peace, but it delivers numbness. Meaning processes pain, but it delivers depth. I mean, that's pretty much all of what life is. We all just naturally know that you have to put more into things and you have to go through more hardships if you want better things in life. And yet we settle for comfort still. You know, it just seems like we're not rationally thinking about things, but because the crowd is following, we follow in step. You know, the whole thing with college, and anyone that watches my videos knows that I graduate from college this semester, at the end of the semester. But it's like the whole reason I went is just because everyone else was doing it. But then I look at everyone else and it's like their life isn't, you know, it's not all that great. No one's out here doing anything extravagant, you know. We're exhausted, we're tired of it. And quite frankly, there needs to be some sort of confrontation. This needs to be addressed. And it's up to us. It's up to people like me. It's up to people like you, the person who's watching this video. We have to force the change. We have to, like, once the boomers finally freaking, you know, kick the bucket, we can sort of start to get into power and start changing the way that the systems run. You have to understand that meaning requires risk. That is what I am finally coming to terms in understanding. Like, there has to be risk that's taken, and even if it doesn't hit, you'll still find the meaning in it. It's just the fact that you're taking the risk that's going to pay off. But yeah, in closing, I'd just like to say, push yourself out of your comfort zone, try new things. I know it's hard in the economy and the society that we live in, but at the end of the day, this is optimal game theory, guys. You can't complain about the rules. They are what they are, and you're not going to change them, you know, at least anytime soon. Maybe in the future we can, but just learn to create the best life possible with what you're given. And that can only be achieved through going through a lot of hardships and stepping out of your comfort zone. Those are my thoughts. Thank you guys for watching.